And hello, welcome to this video. So the last video we actually ran across a very interesting bug called if we did the clear all components, if I populate with random stuff and I do a clear all components, an unhandled exception error actually occurred, and this actually happened while I did this delete component thing right here. So if we start to run this delete component right here, this dot delete component, okay, delete component, and then we use the component. All right, okay, if we use this was the original code, and this is what we had when we started to run the clear all. Okay, we run clear all, we will see this error, connection exception error occurred. So what is delete component actually running? It's running these two lines of code. This DbContext component collection remove, this DbContext.SaveChanges. So, and then it has this error, the mySql connection is already in use. So okay, let me show you what I found out. I found out if that, okay, if we copy and paste these two lines of code here, all right, okay, the method to okay, so if we come across a bug like this, what do we do, right? We know that the bug actually lies within this delete component, right? Because if I delete this line out, okay, do clear all, okay, the for loop doesn't do anything, and it doesn't return any errors. Okay, so if we put the delete component in this for loop, okay, if we put the delete component into this for loop, there will be an error. Okay, so let's see where the error comes from. Okay, so I actually started trying to yank both of these, and then alright, maybe I'll do this. The thing is that if we try to run both of these codes, both of these lines of code, and we put it here, we know that there'll for sure be an error. So just to prove it, I will yank both of this code and I'll put it here. I'll indent it properly, of course, for neatness sake. And then okay, we see that there's an error. Okay, you know that the handler here is clear all. That means the clear all method is being run. We click clear all, it will return this error thing. Okay, so let's see which one of these two lines of code is actually causing the problem. So let me comment out the second line. Let's see whether the first line actually has a problem. So we type clear all. Clear all actually doesn't do anything. The all the things here are okay, right? All the things here are okay. Now the moment we try inputting the second line and then we run clear all, we see that this mySql connection is already in use. So now we see that this save changes method should not be run in the for loop. It should never be run in the for loop. Okay, so if you delete this save changes outside the for loop, okay, the clear all will not return an error. If we run DbContext.SaveChanges here, okay, and we run the clear all, everything deletes as per normal. That is the proper way of doing it. Okay, the lazy way is to just delete the entire database. Okay, this is the lazy way of clearing all components, but I tell you, it's a lot more effective. Okay, it's way more effective because there's less resources spent. Okay, whereas the second way, this is the proper way if we do not use the create and drop API. This is the proper way to clear all if we cannot use the create and drop API. Okay, so this will become important when we use migrations, because we cannot use migrations and the create drop API at the same time. It will cause error. So if we cannot use the create and drop API, for example in migrations, we will need to use this style of code. Okay, what's going on here with this save changes? Okay, and then we also have this clue that if we put the save changes here, that we will have this connection reuse error. All right, so let's go to GIMP and let's illustrate what's going on. So my thought is this. Okay, when we run a for loop, okay, each member, each time you run the for loop, actually, okay, for loops mean that let's say you iterate through each component, right? It means that the loops can run independently of each other. Meaning to say, if I have component 1, component 2, and component 3, okay, and I want to delete component 1, okay, maybe 4 and 5. If I want to delete component 1 to 5, if I want to delete everything here, okay, there are two ways of doing it. One is the very slow way. That means I delete component 1 first, okay, then I delete component 2, then I delete component 3, then I delete component 4, then I delete component 5. Okay, this is called the serial way, where component 2 has to wait for component 1 to be deleted, and then component 2 will delete itself. Then component 3 will have to wait for component 2 to be deleted, and then component 3 will be deleted itself. Okay, so of course this is actually wasting a lot of time. So for for loops in general, you can kind of run things concurrently. Okay, for example, component 1, component 2, and component 3, they can be deleted all at the same time. As long as the CPU is able to handle it, you can delete all the components at the same time, and that should not be a problem. Okay, this is if we are working with lists. Now the problem comes, of course, when we are dealing with save changes, right? Dealing with save changes. So what does save changes do? Okay, the delete note that the delete function in the for loop doesn't do anything to the list, it just marks it for deletion. Okay, so that's like putting an X over here at the list to mark it for deletion. Okay, save changes, the save changes, what it does, so this cylinder here is my database. Save changes takes a look at all the things that are marked for change, alright, and then it saves it to the database. So this is what the save changes does. Alright, now given this picture, okay, you know that save changes has to update the database using a connection. Okay, save changes has to update the database using a MySQL connection. So imagine this, if we were trying to delete everything at the same time, and you know the for loop is normally running things in parallel, and that's my guess from what's happening. Okay, for loop is actually running things in parallel, and imagine when you run save changes in the for loop, that means there are like maybe 30, if there are like 5 elements, okay, not 30 elements. If there are 5 elements, maybe there will be 5 times of save changes trying to connect to the database simultaneously. So if we put the save changes here in the for loop, that means all this will be run in parallel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of this will be run in parallel, and then when I call the save changes method, okay, I'll try to establish a save changes connection for my first element. I will also try to establish a save changes method for my second element, third element, fourth element, and fifth element, so on and so forth if you have 30. So there'll be five every save changes will need a connection to the MariaDB database. This is the MariaDB database. Okay, all these save changes will need to connect to the MariaDB database simultaneously. But the MariaDB database, it cannot handle it, because it says the SQL connection object can be only used for one operation at a time. Whereas for loops, what happens is that we are trying to what do you call that? We are trying to interact with it. Maybe like we are trying to form 5 or 10 connections at a go. And then you know the thing the thing is that well, you just cannot handle it, yeah, because this whole thing is designed for one connection to go at one time only, okay, not 30 connections to go at one time. So that is not a good way for this MariaDB thing to work. So yeah, that is something important. We should keep this in mind whenever we are running whenever we are running this MariaDB thing. Okay, so we need to be very careful how many changes we are saving to MariaDB at one go. So you cannot activate 30 at one go. You can only activate one save changes process at a time. So do not put this save changes in a for loop or any kind of parallel process where things are trying to be run simultaneously, or else you'll get this kind of error. All right, so that's my what do you call that? My conjecture. And it says, okay, connection reuse. Okay, examples of prohibited use. For example, you cannot do this asynchronous connection to the MariaDB database. You cannot do it all at one go. You can only do it one at a time. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so okay, for multi-threaded scenario, if concurrent access to your database is truly necessary, create and open a new MySql connection on each thread. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, it means that if you try to do it in a for loop, you need to create one new instance of app DbContext every time we run this thing. So it's possible to do it, but that means we need to create multiple instances of app DbContext, and then we try to save changes to the MariaDB database simultaneously. So if there are 30 objects to manipulate at one go, we need to create 30 app DbContext objects to put it in the for loop. Okay, I don't know whether that's ideal, that's the way you want to do it, but that's if it's a must. And if it's absolutely a must, create 30 app DbContext objects to run it asynchronously or in parallel. Now this is a bit more advanced. I myself have not tried this before, but it seems that this is the way to go. And you need 30 app DbContext with 30 connection strings. Maybe you connect to different port numbers. I don't know. Okay, it's going to be very, very much a big headache to try. Okay, so I'm not going to try it, but I'll leave it to you if you want to play with this thing. But this is the reason why we were getting this connection reuse error. Okay, so I'll leave it here. I'll leave this connection reuse error here in the description. I'll see you guys next time.